Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to MRL Monday Night Mayhem Cup Series. We are live at Bristol Motor Speedway for race 8 of our 10-race regular season, and we're coming off of a big race just last week where we saw David Cook take the victory at Pocono for his second win of the year, but still can't close the gap on our series leader, Kenneth Redinger. We're right now qualifying. You can see them wrapping it up. It's his Mean G Money, the voice of MRL, with my tag team partner, Zach Panzarella. Zach, those three big names, David Cook, Tony Iverson, Kenneth Redinger. Who else might we see appear on this concrete half mile?
Oh man, well here at the last great Coliseum, it's kind of everybody's game. We're going to see a lot of comers and goers with the chaotic nature that this track presents. So much going to happen here. It's probably going to be a wreck fest just because of how tight it is here and how difficult it is and how close the racing is. You really can't get away from anyone. Even as the leader, you're going to catch up to the lap cars within a couple laps. So this is going to be a wild one indeed. And so I'm looking out for everyone today. This is probably some of the drivers' best opportunity to lock up that one win, make sure that in the playoffs, or even better, just get a great finish and get comfortable for these last two races after Bristol tonight.
You talk about a wreck fest. Last year, a third of the field finished with being penalized because of incident points. That's right, 15 drivers, and 5 of them ended up getting penalized. This place can be a wreck fest. 15 drivers last year. This year, we're looking at 18 drivers. Might be a little bit different situation. One thing's not different, though. Last year's pole sitter, he's back on the pole. That's David Owens.
Yeah, David Owens knows how to get around this place. We'll talk a little bit more about what he did here last year, because oh boy, it's concerning for the rest of the field. But before we do that, Minchin, let's take a look at our standings going into this race. Let's take a look at our season standings here.
That's the man we were talking about, Kenneth Redinger. Right now, he is your regular season leader. He's got Tony Iverson chasing him down, David Owens, Matthew Fritz sneaking in, and Jax Duvall. That's your top 5. The bottom's really interesting, though, don't you think? Top 12 drivers will make their way into the 7th race playoff. Justin Parham, Jonathan Quesabeer tied, but there's a story there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Quesabeer not going to make it here today. He's actually dealing with some health issues. We're thinking about you, Jonathan. We hope you feel better as soon as possible so you can join us on the track and just enjoy your life the most you can. Thinking about you, John. But not over for Jonathan. He's going to make the minimum amount of races. He just has to hope that Parham or someone else around him doesn't have a huge day, because, yeah, look at the bottom of that. The top 12 tied at the very bottom. It is extremely close, and we'll take a look at the bubble a bit later on today, too. Boy, oh boy, there really is not a ton of room for error here. But Parham already showing the same speed that he had last week with a second place qualifying today here at Bristol on the outside of David Owens with back-to-back poles here at Bristol 2 years in a row in the next gen in MRL.
Yeah, Justin Parham definitely going to move up. Everybody in the top 12 is here tonight except Jonathan Quesabeer. Quesabeer, though, he's got to keep an eye on that 13th position driver of Steve Lewis. Steve Lewis, he is only 11 points behind, so he's almost guaranteed to catch Quesabeer. And also, a little bit of story about Steve Lewis. You know, last year he was the only driver at Bristol to not get any incident points. That's right. The card-carrying co-captain of T-Bone Racing had 0 incidents. And if Louis can manage to pilot that 88 car through this traffic, through these other 18 cars, he could easily find himself up, maybe even further. Maybe he could poke his head ahead of Parham. Remember, the top drivers are going to get points going into those playoffs. But as far as the swing points go, think about it. You get 35 points for second place. You get 19 points for 18 if you get last year today. So that is a really big swing. You could see a 16-point swing in points, and that could allow Lewis to take a big gap. If he could have a good run, he might even poke his way up into that 11th position. Other drivers of note: David Cook, Michael Mata, Bobby Dodson, David Owens. All these guys laid down burners. I see these cars are on the track now, making their way around. David Owens is going to be your pole sitter. Justin Parham, Jay Stinson, Austin Merrow, Jax Duvall. That is your top 5.
Yeah, a lot of stories in this starting lineup here. Tony Iverson getting to the race just before practice wrapped up, so not bothering putting down a qualifying lap, probably feeling like he needs to get his feel for the track as this race goes on. So I don't expect to see Tony Iverson up front until about the second stage of this race. But yeah, we got guys like Parham in second place. Steve Lewis, can't say enough about how impressive a 0X is at Bristol. If there's any track that is just unbelievably hard to do, it's this one. This track is so crazy. So really all Lewis needs to do is do that again. A 0X at Bristol will typically result in about a top 10 at least. So just that could be enough for him today. As we go around, we have 2 pace laps here. I believe we've already completed one. Looks like the lights are off the pace car as we get ready to go green here, me and Gene. This is going to be fast and furious here at Bristol.
I can't wait to see the start of the race, Zach. I am really curious to see just how patient these guys are going to be. You know, you get that run into the turn, and already I can see Duval whacking Jay Stinson. Outside car has control. That's the 11 of Owens. He hits the restart zone. Good jump. You can see him get a good jump over Parham. Parham in the 18th second. Behind him, you can see the 28 of Merrill waiting for the third. The 16 of Michael Mata, good start. Jay Stinson, David Quick side by side behind that. But look up front as we see the 11. He touches the wall 2 or 3 times a lady, and that's going to let Parham get a run on that inside. Good racing here early at Bristol.
Ooh, and Parham makes Owens make a little bit of a mistake there, getting to the top. Justin Parham wasting no time, not wanting to be behind David Owens here, trying to get in front of him now and making some great moves, but then he seems to watch the bottom a little bit, and Owens wraps around the top. David Owens in the lead. Get ready to see a lot of this all day, Mean Gene.
This track is unforgiving. If you touch that apron, you will slam right back up into the track. And with a field this tight, you might take a friend or 2 with you, but they're not going to be your friends for long if you start wrecking folks right now. Remember, David Owens, this guy took the pole last year. He took the win. He led 143 up 200 laps. David Owens, no stranger to the front, and he'd love to close that gap. He's 44 points behind Kenneth Redinger. Redinger is off to a slow start. He's in 10th place right now, but I will not be surprised to see him cut his way through traffic. Right now, though, look at how close all these cars are. It looks like we've got a lot of single file racing through the first 8 vehicles.
Yes, we do, and it looks like everyone's just trying to settle in a little bit after that early action between Owens and Parham. Parham with that error that he made on the bottom, that cost him quite a few spaces, as he now finds himself all the way back in 4th place behind Michael Mata and Austin Merrow. Austin Merrow rocking a really cool paint scheme tonight. Probably was getting sick of us mixing him up with the other blue cars, so happy that he's in orange now. But look at Merrow. He's also been another one of those guys who's been quietly exceptional this season. He's found himself in a good place in the points, and now here he is looking for the lead against the guy who knows how to run Bristol.
Yeah, also Merrow, he is currently in 7th. He did drop 1 point, 1 position to Bobby Dodson last week. He's only 63 behind. With 3 races to go, it is possible for him to close that gap up on that leader Redinger, but he'd need 3 big finishes, and Redinger would need 3 bad ones. Merrow looking for his first stage win today might be that day, as he is having a strong run early on. Other cars that you might want to think about having a strong run, though, it's got to be that 16 of Michael Mata. We've really seen him turn it on as of late. Mata, he's got a stage win. He almost took a win last week with 10 to go. He was in the lead.
Owens gets loose and hits the wall, Mean Gene, and we got ourselves a new leader.
What is going on with David Owens? I guess he wants to give the other guys a chance, and that is going to let the 28 of Merrow take the lead, and the 16 of Mata now side by side with him. That inside lane, those precarious, you know, that apron is right there calling your name, and you just do not want to touch it and come back up. Owens, knowing this, he's been riding that outside, but that tail end looks kind of loose on that number 11 Ford.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of that today. Bristol really is a 2-line track on iRacing. The top and the bottom are equally as powerful for the most part in most cars. It's just a matter of the risk versus reward part of it. As we're seeing in the early parts of this run, the outside and the inside presenting their own sets of unique challenges. We saw Parham struggle on the inside early in the run, and then Owens slip up on the outside and get into the wall, which let Merrow get the lead. So really, I think drivers right now trying to figure out, especially once they get past, you know, about 10, 15 laps, if you've already completed 15 laps at this place, which lines will be best as tires get older and where they can trust and be most comfortable while maintaining speed.
Yep, we have completed 16 laps here. This is a 175 lap race. Remember, there is no stage break. Now, 1 point will be awarded to the car that is leading at the halfway point. So once they end lap 87, hit that lap 88, that car will be awarded 1 point, but there will be no caution at that point. If you want a caution, you're going to have to do it the good old-fashioned way and just door somebody right into the wall. Remember, there is 1 quick repair here today, and they also have 4 sets of tires.
Wow.
1 on the car and 3 in the pits.
You see that moment from Jax the Ball. Wow, that was a crazy one. Let's go back real quick and just see how close we are to getting some cautions here. But
Hey, Florida man is not afraid.
Watch this moment, Mean Gene.
Wild stuff. Let's see, Matt Fritz in the 48 behind him.
That was loose there from Jax the Ball. Gathered it back up, had now Medina behind him. And let's take one more look at Justin Parham, just continuing to kind of struggle after that great start and that great qualifying. Slipped him to Owens, cost himself his first place position. That cost him back and forth, and then seemed to make another mistake on the top. Got into the wall just a little bit, and that was enough for him to fall back now to 8th. Justin Parham kind of just needs to get that car underneath him, take it one step at a time. And I'll tell you what, Mean Gene, I'm working the camera here, and I keep hearing walls, but I'm not seeing them. And it looks like we have someone in the pits right now. Hunter Hall appears to be in the pits.
Yes,
he is.
That is going to be the number 12 of Hunter Hall. Hunter Hall in a must-win situation. And it looks like Tony
Iverson had an issue as well. Or was this before the race, Mean Gene? Let's see.
I still see Iverson.
Oh, there's Iverson doing good. Okay, so looks like we couldn't find there what Hall's issue was, but luckily Iverson's still out here rolling, doing okay, hanging out in 14th place, getting his feel for the track. You can't wait too long for Tony Iverson, though. These are only about 15, 16-second laps, 14-second laps, I'm sorry, and he already is 6 seconds behind our leader.
Yeah, Tony Iverson did just lay down the fastest lap of all cars, though, that last lap, running a 14.556. So Iverson, he's got some speed in that car. Perhaps he's just taking his time. He knows how to cut through traffic. He took 2nd place last week on that restart with 10 laps to go. He went from 6th to 2nd relatively quickly. So Iverson can make quick work of the drivers and dice them up when he needs to. But this early in the race, I think we're going to see a lot of patience out of the gentleman, Tony Iverson.
Yeah, I think so as well. As he's starting to catch his field right here, probably definitely the closest action we have on track is right here. And not exactly what I'm sure someone like Iverson wants to see, but wow, we got a little bit of a cluster here. And let's take a quick look at Austin Merrow, though, our leader. Look at this lead, Mean Gene. My goodness, Austin Merrow. Where is Michael Mata?
2.5 seconds there.
Yeah. You have to go a little way. So that is incredibly impressive so far by Merrow. Definitely aggressive on the track. We'll keep our eye on him. Keep our eye on that 2.2 second lead to see if he potentially using his stuff up or just really has that much raw speed here. Either way, very impressive so far.
Once you get in that rhythm, though, right? Once you get into that rhythm, you just start laying down good laps. And once you have an incident, not even keeping in mind that you might have accidentally slipped your tires or hit the wall and thrown off something with the handling of the car. Just having contact for me, it can take me 2, 3, 4 laps to get back into rhythm. And that's even if there's no one around me. You add in the factor of having cars around me, suddenly I can't get back in my preferred line. And then I'm just frustrated for 5, 6, 7 laps. I think that's what we might have seen there with Parham. Parham running now back in 9th. Hopefully he's fought his way back into finding his preferred line. You can see him making his way right now. He's got 34 of Medina, 54 of Jose Medina behind him. So Parham needs to find that rhythm and make his way back up. Surprised that he has fallen back so far after such a good start. Other cars to wonder about. David Owens finally making his way past Mata. You can see David Cook, 3 of the usual suspects right there. But that lead by Austin Merrow. You know, we said Austin Merrow was in a good position points-wise, but how about if he just wins the thing and just forces his way in, right?
Yeah, that doesn't hurt either. That makes things really simple for Mr. Austin Merrow if he can get that done. And my goodness, the amount of speed he has right now is quite impressive. However, David Owens did find his way around Michael Mata, and he looked like he was starting to get that lead down a little bit. See if he can continue to do that as we're already 35 laps into this 175-lap race. The laps here can tick off quicker than you know it, but you can't get too excited if you're someone like Austin Merrow right now. You still have 140 more times around this track until it's over. So take it one lap at a time. And same way with if you're someone like Parham right now, if you're falling back a few spaces, don't panic, don't worry. This race is long enough to where just keep that car healthy. You You can be okay. You can recover. Let's take a look at Mata now, though. I think we're starting to see, Mean Gene, a few of these cars may have used their tires up, because look at David Cook, the tire wizard, up to 4th place, making his way through the field with our championship leader, Kenneth Reginger, right behind him.
Yeah, this is some tight racing right now. Really amazing that we haven't seen the infamous caution. I don't want to jinx it, but right now these guys running like pros around this track. Really interesting. We talked about Carr, and he said he doesn't need to panic, but he looks in his rear view mirror. He's got all the way back to the 13th position of Duval right on his tail. He's one wiggle away from falling out of that top 10. Those cars would love to eat him up. Medina as well, you can see getting a little tap there from the 26. Mason Smalley would love his way to make his way through this, and Tony Iverson also in that group. So we can just see that accordion back and forth. They'll catch up, they'll slow down, they'll lose some pace. But right now, Medina, he's got 2 hungry wolves right behind him that are going to split him like a banana.
Yeah, Smalley knows how to get around here. Led 50 laps last time the MRL Cup Series was here. Smalley definitely somebody that wants to make his way through the field as quick as he can. And Tony Iverson, as we've talked about, making good progress. Started, I believe, in 16th, is already up to 11th. Finding Smalley trying to get his way to the top 10 here. Medina as well. Lots of stories going on. And yeah, I don't want to jinx it either, Mean Gene, but hey, we've already said it a couple times. Screw it. Maybe it will happen. I can't believe we haven't had a caution yet. We are at Bristol. I can't believe this. I mean, hats off to everybody in this field, because this track produces cautions like no other. But these guys are doing a great job. They're not single file. They're racing each other hard, but they are keeping it clean. It's incredibly impressive. Whew. As you saw,
look at this. Now, go back up to front. Remember that 2-second lead that Mero had?
Oh,
all
wow.
of a sudden, side by side, David Owens is just charging right now. I don't know if Mero had really suffered some tire wear, but Owens is starting to show why he is a front runner. Owens, remember, he had that early contact with the wall, but now he has got that car right back on track, running on a rail down there close to the apron. He doesn't want to touch that apron, but it's Mero now on that outside lane that Owens loves so much. So really nice side-by-side racing here. MRL Monday Night Mayhem. If you like what you see, ladies and gentlemen, take this opportunity to hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. Tell your friends we do live broadcasts every Monday and Wednesday. Meat, Shooting Money, and Zach Panzarella bringing you all the action right now here live. We are 47 laps into this 175 lap event here at Bristol, and this is just race 8 of our 10 race regular season. This thing is wild. Points are going to be distributed after today, and we'll see what drivers can make their way into that playoffs with just 3 late races remaining.
Looks like another one either. Mean Gene, did David Owens tell you what our pit window is here?
No, he was keeping secrets today.
All right.
He's like Kevin Brower,
Let's do
though.
that contact Brower putting tires on here, but using his fast repair, as you saw right there in that front bumper. If you guys want to take a look, I'll bring us back. Oh, it looks like Brower might be just calling it a day, but look at that front bumper right there. You'll see the damage fix itself. That's him using his fast repair, but it looks like Brower not wanting anything to do with it. He may be done here for the day. As this track, while it's not bringing out cautions, is collecting victims. We've seen issues for Hunter Hall and Kevin Brower, who is now out of this race. Jack Sanders now a lap down, as when we were riding on board with Mero there before, if you looked in front of him, you could see lap cars already in their front windshield. And here it is, Owens dealing with a new rookie, first race here, the 903 of Alex Hillman. Getting past there, going to put a lap down, and then in front of him, next up, his teammate in the 88, Steve Lewis. David Owens making quick work of this field, putting multiple cars a lap down, making this race as controllable as he possibly can. Every car he laps, Mean Gene, is one less car he should have to worry about later in this race if we do get that caution.
You are speaking the truth right there. Last year, David Owens managed to put every car except for 3 cars at least one lap down. Last year, only 3 cars finishing on that lead lap. So that is his MO here, is to try to put you down a lap as quickly as possible. And there's a lot of cars that he's coming up on that are going to be seconds behind him. I see Bobby Dodson ought to be coming into this picture very soon. That's that 32 Napa car. He would be the next victim. And then there's a jump up beyond that. I think I see other cars thinking about going into the pits. I think Michael Mata perhaps.
We got some aggressive drivers in this pack, Mean Gene. We got Stinson, Fritz, Iverson, and Medina. Clean but aggressive drivers, and if we're going to get a caution, this could be the spot as they're going to potentially take Redinger 3 wide. It looks like Redinger potentially missed that corner and did not get the run out that he wanted to. I think we're starting to see some tire wear, Mean Gene. These guys are not having a good time, are they?
No, they are not. Bobby Dodson getting the lap down by Owens. Looks like Michael Mata is about to get put a lap down. Mata really off the pace. He has got to bring that thing into the pits.
Yes, he is doing that. So. What happened to Michael Mata? I'm sorry, guys. There's so much to keep up with in this tiny track. But clearly another one bites the dust in terms of damage. This time being Michael Mata, one of our fastest cars. Somebody in his current points and races run situation that needs a good run. Ooh, Michael Mata. Wondering what happened to him there.
Yeah, this is his fifth start, so that's going to make him eligible for the championship. But the point situation for Michael, he's going to need a win to make his way into this thing. And right now, he is 2 laps down, not going to help him. Wow, those guys are tight.
Redinger and Smalley are getting to know each other. All these cars in the 20s here. Oh, man, this is intense. And now we got Jack the Ball. A little bit of contact there.
Florida man.
That was intense.
I tell you what, Florida man might have needed those dude swipes when he made contact with Stinson right there. Matthew Fritz, he's in that teal and black car right behind them. These guys' tires got to be wearing out. We're at lap 62 of 175. Remember, we're looking for lap 87 to come to the end of the stage. There is no stage break. They're just going to award a point. Right now, it looks like David Owens, he's got a nice 4.5 second lead over Austin Barrow. He might be counting those points before they hatch, and you can't blame him after what he did last year with his field. Yep. He is running strong. Michael Mott is back on the track, and he's looking fine. I think he just was on slick tires, and it just threw him out. Mott had just put down a really nice lap, a 14.385, and that is the fastest lap of anybody. So I think Mott just suffered. Yeah. It helped him. Fight all that traffic around you. Michael Mata trying to get a lap back the old-fashioned way, but he's currently listed 4 laps down. David Owens now on the radio. Wouldn't be surprised if we magically see that 11 coming in soon, or perhaps he's just communicating with Mata saying you're faster. Let's just go on.
I think he's letting Mata go. He's got that 5-second lead. No reason to lose any pace. And me and Gene, we are just it's absolute insanity out here because we had was David Cook in 4th place not too long ago. Now he finds himself in 12th. What happened to David Cook is now you see him behind Redinger. Redinger was in the top 5. He's now in 11th. Jose Medina, who was chilling in 8th, is now in 6th. And Justin Parham, who had that really sketchy start, is now in 2nd. He's got past Austin Merrill. What is going on, me and Gene? This track is absolute insanity. I guess this is what happens when you don't get the cautions. You just get that absolute craziness that Bristol provides. Because this is nuts. This is like the type of position changing and coming and going that you see at a super speedway.
Yeah, you definitely here, you got to be paying attention to what's happening with the tires, especially if these guys are going to run as clean as they are so far. We've got 18 drivers left on the track. Right now, we're in the middle of some pit stop rotations. So once Owens and the leaders come in, we will see that rotation. The question is, how far is David Owens going to push this thing? He's on lap 70 right now. Do you think, 17 more laps? I don't know if he's going to be able to push it that far. We're just going to have to keep an eye. I mean, the people that are coming into pit, David Cook, Bobby Dodson,
Look at that front bumper of David Cook. That front bumper has seen better days. Let's see if he uses his fast repair here.
Did he just drive through Redinger?
Yeah. They got lucky that they got the iRacing gods to let them through there. David Cook electing not to use his fast repair, deciding that damage isn't bad enough to use that up. I can't disagree with him there, but David Cook clearly getting damage from an incident that happened on track and cost him significant track position. And don't look now, and we say this every week, Tony Iverson in the top 5 in podium position already. Did not take this guy long to figure out how to get around Bristol quickly.
No, it does not. I think he was being patient back there. He's known for that, just biding his time and then really pushing the envelope only when he has to. He hasn't had to very often. Tony Iverson went chasing down Kenneth Redinger. Iverson had a victory snatched from his grasp earlier in the year when Duval won that gas mileage adventure.
Oh, and around goes Dodson. Johnson seems to oh man, the car was able to somewhat straighten out, but that is going to be a bad one for Dodson. It's not going to be the caution, but look at this one, Mean Gene.
Yeah, Bobby Dodson, he was having issues back there. He had the swirl. He got right behind Tony Ivory. Taps the wall, manages to keep it going straight, but that is not going to help Bobby Dodson's quest to get into the playoffs. Bobby Dodson currently 6th in points, needing a good finish here. He's got a nice 40-point cushion over the 12th place car, but you can't have too many bad finishes in a row. Right now, Bobby Dodson is his way into the pit. Still watching David Owens as he cooks around this track. 9 cars on that lead lap, still working on that same strategy of just riding it out. I guess they're waiting on that caution, or they really think they can make it to the end. You know, another guy we'll talk about, how about Jose Medina? He's had a couple of bouts of bad luck, but right now Jose finds himself 10 seconds behind. He's in that second group in the lead, and he's having a good run here today, Jose.
Jose, an exceptional short track driver. He's on that strategy. You see the difference in time as Redinger on fresh tires just blows by him. But yeah, you're 1,000% right, me and Gene. These cars that are now on the 80th lap of this run, which is crazy to think to go 80 laps even here on tires, but they're doing it. It's because when you pit here at Bristol, you don't go 1 lap down, you go 3 to 5, if we're being honest. I mean, look at Michael Mata, our first car laps down. That was just a scheduled pit stop. He is 3 laps down. If we do get that caution, which is more likely now with all the different tire strategies we're seeing on the track right now, that is going to be amazing for these 8 cars that stayed out, because the cars that have pit are not going to get enough laps back to be on the lead lap with these guys. It would essentially make their race, if not ruined, extremely difficult to recover from. So I understand, especially with the lead Owens has, why you'd want to do that, as these guys are just battling extremely hard. And it looks like a caution can come at any minute now. If we have a completely green Bristol race, which we're almost halfway to it, I was going to be an absolute shock.
I don't think that's going to happen, but hey, you know, we've seen stranger things happen. We've seen people go from elimination to Final Four in the blink of an eye, so you can't ever count anything out from happening. I mean, right now, Tony Iverson cruising around back there in that middle of that pack. He was at the back of that pack earlier, and now he finds himself right in the front of it. All he's got between him and that unbridled optimism is Justin Parham. So Iverson, little touch there by Redinger.
Yeah, Redinger on way newer tires. He's on way newer tires. He does not have time to wait. Hunter Hall was clogging up that top line. And eventually Redinger was just like, all right, sorry, buddy, I got to go. Or else this advantage this risk I took doesn't matter. Oh, man, that could have been bad.
It could have been. And that's really a big risk, because you just never know when you pit what you're going to come out into. And you're definitely going to run into those cars as you make your way around the track. You're talking about cars turning a full second faster, 1.1, 1.2 seconds faster. So they're going to run into those cars relatively quickly. They cannot take any chances. They got to get through that traffic or else they'll go down. Thankfully, there is no caution at that halfway point, so they don't have to worry about getting trapped there. But if a caution was just to magically come out right now, that would be just terrible. Looks like Tony Iverson now has chosen to bring it into the pits. He is not going to risk it. If I see Iverson in the pits, I imagine everybody's going to come into the pits.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Iverson probably will be the one who leads everyone down, as we are starting to see. Vella's in now, Smalley's in now. All that's left is down to Duvall. David Owens, I think, has gotten what he's needed. And I think another reason that we have to talk about why these pit stops can take so long is you have to use both lanes. Since this track is so small, it has 2 different pit roads. In an MRL here, you have to drive down the first one entirely, stay on the bottom, and then go to the next pit lane, which at a track this small is why it ends up costing you 3 to 5 laps. And it just makes it so much longer than you feel like it has to. But that's the nature of the beast here at Bristol, as David Owens continues to put on a great performance here. And now, finally, Owens bringing it in to put 4.
I would be, right? Also, this just in from MRL officials. David Owens did officially win the halfway point, so he does receive that 1 point.
Yep.
For leading that halfway. Congratulations to David Owens. Not a surprise. He did the same thing last year, but now he is coming in, and this is where the game begins. Just how far behind did Owens get from those other cars? Remember, they're short pitting, they're quick pitting on him, so that means they're going to come out running faster initially. But like you mentioned earlier, Zach, that traffic can make such a difference as far as your progress, those first 20 laps on those fresh Goodyears.
Definitely. Iverson seeming to have a long pit stop, but I don't think it was that long, Eugene. I think it was just the nature of staying out on those other tires, because Iverson lost so much track position. So I'm really curious to see where Owens comes out when all this is said and done, with guys like Redinger, who got to enjoy Mata. Really, I think Mata will be the one who should cycle to the lead based on just how much time they saved hitting early and how that worked out without caution. Here we go. Iverson, Owens blending back in.
Matthew Fritz is your leader, and he's having a lot of difficulty keeping that thing straight. You just saw Cook and Matt Novella split it, almost causing a wreck as Fritz manages to keep it on the straight and narrow. And now that 903, that's that big rookie. We were talking about Alex Hillman also shooting by Fritz. Fritz just going backwards. He's really got to bring that thing in for a bit. Maybe he just can't get to that bottom lane right now. But at this point, I would imagine you're just losing time. You know, why are you doing it? Are you just going to run it till the end and pray that there's a caution and you pin everybody down? There he goes. He's bringing it in.
Fritz brings it in, yeah. A little puzzling at this point. It's now just Fritz and Medina and Duvall. With Duvall bringing it as well. The only ones.
Medina bringing it in.
So here comes Medina. Let's see. Medina bringing it in as well. So that is going to be our whole field. Everyone has successfully made it through this first run. No cautions. And they all made it through to get 4 fresh tires, and let's see who cycles back to the lead. It looks like we anticipated, it's going to be Mata and Redinger who overcut, is really using those fresh tires to their advantage. Now in the lead. Here in the lead.
Really good strategy here by the drivers that hit it earlier. The ones that took the chance and stayed out. And can you blame them? There were so many cautions last year, so many incidents. I know we're halfway, it leads to go sideways at any moment. But you really have to commend all of these drivers, MRL, Monday Night Mayhem, seeing how clean they are. I'm looking at Duvall getting ready to blend on the track, and he's just staying on that apron, making sure that it's a safe re-entry. Good for him. He's back onto the track. And right now, it looks like it's a tight race up in the front, right, with Mata and Redinger?
It is. Redinger right on Mata's tail as they try to get around the lap car of Alex Hillman. But yeah, this is definitely working out for the cars who pit early. We'll see how it works out. Oh, as Medina blends in front of him, not quite up to speed yet, but they seem to figure it out. That was a close one, Mean Gene. But there we go. It's Redinger very loose on exit, but great save by Redinger to keep it going and keep it going fast. These two are going to battle hard, but they got to remember, David Owen's going to have a pretty significant tire advantage on the tail end of this run with how much longer he stayed out. So they got to be careful about that. As oh man, Medina wants that lap back. You can't blame him. That's the leader in front of him. This race can completely be different for him if he lets Mata drive away. Medina makes quick work of it, gets his lap back, and he's out of there.
Really exciting racing right there. Jose Medina not wanting to go additional
little bump and run.
lap.
A little bump and run by Redinger. That was textbook by Kenneth Redinger. Kenneth Redinger, never a stranger to using the bumper in any MRL league. He's an aggressive one, but it works out for him. That was a textbook bump and run on the 16 on Mata. How will he respond?
Well, I think Mata's just going to put in laps. He had an early problem early in the season getting involved in some incidents. And I talked to him. He said that he's just going to be more patient and things are going to happen on the track. If it's personal, it's personal, but it's not on his side. He has no grudges with anybody. He's just going to run his race and try to put down as many laps as he can. Speaking of running his race, you know, David Owens just a few laps ago was 5 seconds back. He's 3.5 back now. Really starting to close that gap. It is really amazing to just see how fast he can pilot that number 11 Ford around this track.
Absolutely, but you're really seeing when these faster cars catch a lap car and that lap car is using the top lane and they kind of have to choke up that exit, man, that creates a loose situation. As you almost saw Owens do the same thing Redinger almost did a couple laps ago. Even though Owens has tons of speed in that car, and he does, Mean Gene, he is catching them at a rapid rate. It won't be long until he's up there with Redinger and Mata. But he has to be careful here. They have lapped up to 6th place. These top 6 have this race completely under control for themselves. They're controlling their destiny. They can virtually guarantee themselves a top 6 as long as they can keep this thing green. So there's a huge incentive for Owens to try to be as disciplined as he can through this.
Yeah, Matthew Fritz right there, he is running in that 48. He'd like to get his lap back the old-fashioned way.
He's already at Mata.
He just has to get his way up into Redinger. Ooh, a little bit of contact. Look at Parham sticking his nose in there as Mata wiggles. Owens gets around
position as well, Mean Gene. Parham this is for position 2. Parham is now going to be in 3rd place. Oh my goodness. As he gets loose on exit, but Mata clearly maybe regretting pitting as early as he did. Those tires have come back to bite him. He is falling behind him. Watch how quickly Owens and Parham are just driving away as they set their sights on Kent Redinger now. Only a 1.8 second gap now. Shouldn't be long for Owens to get to him as he's taking off a solid half a second a lap. That 11 is a rocket ship, but Parham is brilliant. I love what he's doing. Just follow Owens and just deal with it once you guys are 1-2, and hey, who knows? Maybe you can save more tires in the process.
It could be, especially not challenging people. Running side by side, just going to wear those tires out here on this concrete half mile. Following is a good strategy, especially until the end of the race. Look at all of this bunched up right here. Redinger has 2 lap cars protecting him from Owens right now as these guys are starting to close the gap. Parham also very terrified, very nervous, very nervous.
You saw that contact there between Parham and Owens. Hillman on an exit got a little bit loose, as we continue to see from many cars. Hillman right now a lap car. Oh wow, Redinger looking like he's electing the pit, wanting none of this. Oh, Redinger very loose, but it looks like he got it down to the speed limit. And the caution is out, Mean Gene.
There we go. There is our first caution of the day, ladies and gentlemen.
And it's Tony Iverson, Mean Gene. It's Tony Iverson. And it looks like it was the 25 Ascenders, our defending champion, getting lapped. Maybe got a little bit out of shape on exit. Look at the 25, the Dylan Hurt scheme right here. Watch him, out of shape. Wow.
Oh, and he takes Iverson in.
I'm not sure if that was a netcode thing. It looked like a netcode thing to me, Mean Gene. Let's go on board with our boy Tony Iverson and see what happened there from his perspective. But we have seen that Tony Iverson can recover from these things. He has spun in one before, but here we go. You can see it that 25 is a little bit too high. There he goes in the wall. Looks like our Iverson just grabs a handful of brake there, maybe a tad bit too much, and around he goes.
Really unfortunate right there for Tony Iverson. Second in points, just 32 points behind Kenneth Redinger. Not what he needs on today's race. Kenneth Redinger taking that last opportunity to pit. He did come into the pits. Not sure if he just came out quickly to stay on the lead lap.
Me and Gene, well, we are not getting as many cautions as we anticipated, so we got to rattle off these graphics that we made, don't we? So let's look at what happened here last season at Bristol. And we have teased this, but it can't make it any less shocking. Does anything stick out to you here, Mean Gene?
I think it's the David Owens show.
Yeah, it was. Last season, he won the race, won the stage, won the pole, led the most laps by a ridiculous long shot. And that number in parentheses next to winner is his speed rating. And I talked a little bit about that last week. And that is a number between 0, 150, 138. Again, stupid high, ridiculous high. That just shows that David Owens was the class of the field that day, and nobody had anything for him at any point of the runs, or during the short or the late run. Owens was just setting the pace, and he got it done. So hard to say that what we're seeing today is at all surprising with that 11 car.
And how about that strategy that we just saw? During this caution, Owens choosing to stay on the track, keeping all those cars a lap down. All those cars that could have pitted or could have stayed out and gotten a wave around. Instead, Owens says, you know what, I bet there'll be another caution because you ain't going to get it back. I'm going to put you 2 laps down and then I'll let you get a wave around.
Yes,
but
sir.
Right now, he's keeping those guys a lap down up through 12th, 9th through 12th, 1 lap down. Kenneth Redinger did stay on the lead lap even though he pitted right before that caution, which did involve Tony Iverson. Really unfortunate. Iverson, he ended up going a lap down, 2 laps down actually from my calculations. David Cook also 2 laps down. Some big names, some heavy hitters down there.
Yeah, I mean, just this track's absolutely brutal, and it's definitely gotten the best of our drivers today. The best of our best drivers, really. Iverson and Cook specifically, definitely having some early issues. We've still got about, I think it's 50 left to go in this thing. So a long way left to go, but I love what Owens did. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That is awesome by David Owens. It is not his responsibility to pit, and he has so much speed in that 11. Why not, Mean Gene? Why not? He could still probably hang with these guys with 27 laps on his tires, and he doesn't need to let more than half this field back in the lead lap. Here we go. Green flag, David Owens off like a rocket ship, Mean Gene.
Great jump there by David Owens. He's got Justin Parham trying to chase him down. Matt Novella, that's a name we haven't said very often, in that 56 Monster Energy drink. But there's Austin Merrow. Merrow, who ran so strong early in this race, has put his name into the hat. Kenneth Redinger up into 5th. Matthew Fritz, he got his lap back the old-fashioned way, and he's out there racing. Michael Mata, Mason Smalley, those are your lead lap cars. 8 cars on the lead lap trying to chase down Owens. Owens is out there on that outside of on Cooks Parkway, saving his tires. Justin Parham peeking up and down on that track. I think Parham needs to dial it in. Remember, he got loose early in the start of this race, losing so many positions. I think Parham needs to take his time and not get too rattled too early.
Yeah, I think that's the only, I guess you could say, disadvantage that Owens might be having to deal with as you see him graze the wall a tiny bit there. With those 7 lap older tires, I really don't think the bottom is going to be an option for him anymore. He needs to use that top lane and use it to defend, and the reason why you use that, but the reason why it's such a defensive line is because of the runs you can get out the corner, how much faster you can run this track on that outside line. It makes it very, very difficult to pass him. You try to complete your passes on the bottom because that's where you can shorten the track, but you defend as Parham gets very loose on the bottom and smacks the wall. Oh man, Parham just cannot seem to get the feel that he needs on that bottom lane. He's still loose. You were not kidding about what you said earlier, Mean Gene. When you hit the wall here, it really does take you a while to get that thing back underneath you. As you can tell, Parham's still struggling. Who knows what is damage on that 18 car. As you can tell, it still doesn't want to go straight. Alex Tillman behind him. This is not over for Parham, and well, maybe his chance to win. And Parham goes around on the entry of the, wow, that was awesome. That was an awesome save entering it, but Justin Parham, a day where he needed a good points day. There's no case of beer here today. He could have essentially given himself a huge points gap, making an unforced error and finding himself going multiple laps down due to this damage.
Yeah, not what he wanted to see, but any points he gets is definitely going to give him a little bit of a gap. Right now, though, David Owens still in control. Austin Merrow keeping it tight. Owens had no problem chasing down Merrow. Question is, did Merrow do it to him? And how about Matt Novella? I think he's found a can of something special inside that Monster Energy drink car, because he's suddenly in 3rd place, keeping it very tight with Merrow. Tony Iverson underneath trying to get a lap back the old way. Iverson being shown 2 laps down. He'd love to go ahead and get it back down to 1 and perhaps benefit from a later
Mean Gene. Owens starting to feel that pressure. See that lap car of Iverson trying to get it back. He's trying to make this quick so Merrow can't take advantage of it. This is going to be tight, and yeah, you're right, Matt Novella right there too. It's playoff time, so you know what that, or it's almost playoff time. You know what that means? It means that Matt Novella is going to find a new level. He always seems to do that. That guy gets so quick when the racing matters, and look at him trying to make Owens nervous. This could get spicy. Whoa, Novella gets loose on exit, slaps the wall. Not too bad, but gosh, these guys are on the razor's edge as Mata joins the party.
Now, all these guys did get fresh tires just 17 laps ago, except for Owens. Owens stayed out and chose to try to force his drivers to stay a lap down. So Owens is on those slick tires. You can see Merrow down there able to hug that apron. Right behind him, Michael Mata. But remember, these guys around lap 20, these things start to plow, and you're going to see these cars opening up on the bottom. David Owens, he's just playing triage right now, trying to nurse that car around until perhaps there is another opportunity for him to come in. He would love to have put more cars, more laps down, but instead of him being the predator, he is the prey. And right now, he is on borrowed time. As you can see, the 16 of Mata making his way underneath Owens. After that, I don't mention. Mata wiggled a little bit too. He waved at him on the way by.
He did. I mean, you got to go quick with that inside line, because as we've seen time and time again, you get so loose down there and you lose momentum so badly. Look at Novella losing spots right now, stuck on the bottom. So you really, really can't make it last more than 1 lap, 2 sets of corners to make that pass, especially when you're battling with a car and old tires like Owens is. I got to tell you, Mean Gene, as much as I said I love what Owens did, and I still do love it, still do. There's only 7 cars on the lead lap, and even with Iverson getting that lap back, he's still 1 down. He was 2 down, so it's not, you know, that didn't fix Iverson's issue. But man, this could take the race out of Owens' control, because I don't think Mata, Merrow, Redinger, even Owens, I don't think any of these guys need to pit again, Mean Gene. If we don't get a caution, I don't know what Owens can do to find speed in that 11 car, right?
No, he's running on borrowed time. 35 laps remaining here at Bristol. But if there is a caution, Owens will be able to come in, get 4 freshies, get the remaining fuel that he needs, and all he needs is one of those top 7 drivers to stay out there to keep all the other cars a lap down. So that's pretty much the strategy I think he's working with. He's got a teammate out there, Matt Novella, is also on that lead lap, so maybe Matt's the guy that's going to do it. Maybe he stayed out the first time, Matt stays out the second time, or one of these other drivers. You never can tell. But right now, how about Michael Motto? We talked about him earlier, how he had just gotten better week after week, taking stages, finding his way through the suit, being a little bit more patient, avoiding the incidents, and now that's who we see leading this race. He's got about a 0.2 second lead as Matt Novella trying to chase him in. You know, Matty, he's no stranger to victory lane at Bristol. Gosh, yeah.
Let's see what happened now.
That's our second caution of the day.
Stinson potentially. That's what my camera is telling me. I don't know, BG. What do you see? Let's see. We got Stinson. Oh, there it is. Stinson gets loose there. Back up the track. And that. Here's the VR talking. That's a bizarre one. Oh, Mean Gene. Do we have some certified beef? What do you think?
Yeah, it might be a little bit of talky right there.
Okay, so let's watch the whole story, yeah? So, here we go. Oh, so it's Redinger that he gets together with. And then he comes back up the track. Honestly, pretty good there. Keep it together. Very, very loose. There's the ball. No, we don't have any beef. We just have a tough situation. It happens to the best of us. So, Mean Gene. We got 30 laps to go. My assumption is everyone, including Michael Mata, brings it down pit lane here. I know that, well, maybe I'm wrong, because we have Owens in our pits and the 60 and the 56 staying out. I don't think Mero is pitting either. He is not. Redinger is. He was behind him, so there's Redinger pitting. Already in his stall. Fritz as well pitting. And it looks like Cook too. So lots of stories here, Mean Gene. Lots of different tire situations, and I think the old adage of cautions breed cautions, especially when you combine them with different tire situations, could come true here. But while we're waiting to go green again, let's take a quick look at our playoff picture, because we've talked a lot about it today, Mean Gene. Here we go. Locked in, just like last week, because we had a repeat winner last week of David Cook. It's still Redinger, Iverson, Cook, and Duvall. 30 above the cut line, we had a new member of this group as of last week, and that's Bryson Dodson. So Owens, Fritz, Dodson, and Mero now fairly comfortable as they hang out, especially with Mero in third, Dodson having a pretty good run. Actually, he's in 18th and out, never mind. But hey, he started the race. That should probably still help him. But then above the bubble, so this is less than 30 points above the bubble, we got Smalley, Stinson, Case of Beer, and Parham. We talked earlier about Case of Beer missing this race today. That is huge for that. And then below the bubble, we got Lewis trying to have a clean race, currently in 13th place. Volpis missing his second consecutive race. That is not going to be good for Joseph Volpis when it comes to the playoffs. Kevin Brower, who also had some early trouble, already at this race. And Jack Sanders, our defending champion, hanging out in 16th place. 4 laps down. So for the above the bubble guys right now, just don't beat yourself. You've already done what you got to do, right?
Yeah, below the bubble, none of those guys have a chance at this stage of the game. The must-win, though, Michael Mata, he is definitely ready to strike. Right there, you can see Matt Novella on that front row. He'd also like to throw his name into that category. Top 4 drivers remaining out on the track. After that, though, let's see, David Owens finally taking that opportunity to get those tires. 26 laps remaining here at Bristol as we are under the second caution.
Why do you put all those cars a lap down and do what Owens did? That right there. He just got to get 4 brand new tires, and he only went back down to 5th place because he has the rest of the field a lap down. That's why. Green flag. Oh man, Novella asleep.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what Matty Novella was doing there. I'm going to call him the Sandman because that's what he did. But that really gave Mata the chance to come out of that thing like a rocket. Lots of side-by-side racing behind them. You can see Mero and Smalley, Redinger all bunched together. Why do those 20 members just like to be getting back together?
They do. They love out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 20 something.
Exactly. But yeah, let's pay attention to these guys who are on older tires versus newer tires. Someone like Smalley on 34-lap old tires, racing against Redinger on brand new ones. And man, oh man, Redinger again telling Smalley, I don't got time, buddy.
He's like, you got to move.
Yes, sir.
That 26 on the outside, he is the one on those older tires. So you can imagine seeing that 26 just kind of spinning around at any point. He's got to keep that Chevrolet on the straight and narrow. Owen's going high with him. He does not want to be down below.
Wow, synchronized wall hits there. You just see those synchronized wall hits from the 26, 11, and 48. Boom, 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 all three of them. They all...
You're doing another sport. They did a synchronized one.
Yeah, it's more that inner circle technique that we're not fighting to.
Ooh, look how close that is. Redinger hugging that apron. Right now, though, Redinger cannot get by Smalley. There it is. Smalley finally makes a little mistake. Owens got tight against the 24 of Redinger. He'd like to get by there. Matthew Fritz now taking the opportunity. He saw the window was open and he said, forget about it. He jumps through also. 3 cars making their way past the 26 of Smalley, who's on those older tires. Behind him, you can see Mero also on older tires. So those two just kind of milking it. Up front, though, Michael Mata, Matt Novella, they still have that lead, and they are on those older tires. But you can just see how quickly Redinger and Owens are starting to close that gap.
Oh, Novella gets super loose, and around he goes and gets Redinger and Owens. That's all our best drivers. Oh, Stinson's in it, Cook's in it. Oh, Medina is going to go down pit lane. That was a disaster. That was 3 of our fastest cars all day, and that was going to be significant damage. Looks like Medina may have somehow avoided disaster there and hopefully won't get a black flag, or maybe they'll clear it. That happened fast, and it was really, really interesting just how insanely quickly they closed that gap once they got past Mero. It happened nearly immediately between Owens, Novella, and Redinger, but that was just too many things happening at one time, Mean Gene. I mean, we'll take a closer look at this, but I'm not...
those tires, right?
Yeah.
Those tires come into effect.
So that's where it starts. Novella crazy loose on the inside.
Yeah, Novella on the older tires, brings it up high. You can see Redinger tries to get by. He does put Owens into the back of him. That's Matthew Fritz. Smalley trying to make his way through, and then behind them you can see the other cars as well.
That's going to be interesting. I don't even know how you rule that. I don't know if that's speeding. I don't know what that is, but fingers crossed for Medina there. But man, Mean Gene, it was only a matter of time until we had something like that happen. I just did not expect it to be those drivers specifically. David Owens appearing like he's already looking to pit. Yes, he is with Novella. 26 is Smalley, probably super happy about that thing happening because he needed to put new tires on that. It was a nice thing. I was going to say for the 26 and the 28, the damage was done in terms of those old tires. They were good because they couldn't lose any more spaces with the way cars were a lap down. It will stay that way because Michael Mata and Fritz electing not to pit, meaning there will be no wave around here. I don't even know who the lucky dog will be, Mean Gene, because I'm pretty sure 90% of the field was involved in that one.
That was a huge wreck, you know, the initial contact as well as all the secondary contact behind as we saw those cars come speeding into it. So many cars taking this opportunity to come down. Not sure if it's just to get a fresh set of tires or if it's to actually address those repairs. So much action going on here as we are experiencing our third caution of the day. Only 14 laps remaining at this point. I would assume it's going to take another 3 or 4 laps just to clean up all of this nonsense. Somebody who's not bleeding, though, and that's got to be Michael Mata. He is still up at the front. 9 cars on the lead lap. Michael Mata might think about tires at this point because everybody but him has come in. Mata on his own strategy. Looks like he's going to stay out, though.
That bet is
really
made, BG.
cold.
That bet is made, and Michael Mata, Matthew Fritz, and Redinger are sleeping in it. There is no way he's coming down. We only got 14 to go, which at Bristol is less than 5 minutes if we stay green.
If he would have thought about pitting, though, because you look right behind him and you can see 4th place.
You're right.
David Owens, he's 2 laps into it.
You're right. You're
Austin
right.
Mero, 2 laps into it.
It's
and
just,
those are 14-second pit stops. You know they took 4 tires.
It's like we talked about, though, me and Gene. If Mata comes in, Fritz probably follows him, and then all the way back to Cook in 13th. Everyone's in the lead lap. So God forbid something does happen. Now you're in 13th instead of 7th, right? Or 9th. Here we go, though, Mean Gene. I'm not disagreeing with you entirely, though. This is still going to be a crazy, crazy finish. And it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't in this situation for Michael Amata and Matthew Fritz, right? We'll just have to see how it works out for them.
A wreck cripples you. A wreck cripples
It
you.
does.
There's no way I take that chance. But you know what? I'm also not leading the field at Bristol with 12 laps to go. Here we go. Pace car is off. Michael Mata, he's on the outside. Control car, 46 laps on those tires. He shoots off like a cannon. Matthew Fritz lags behind. The 11 of Owens is on the outside, now side by side with Matthew Fritz. And behind them, you can see Kenneth Reddinger, Austin Merrill, Mason Smalley part of this game. Matt Novella, those last three guys all on brand new tires. Jose Medina and Alex Hillman, top 9, all back on the lead lap. Great run by Mata, half a second lead as Fritz and Owens fighting side by side. Owens on that outside. He's loved it all day, but he's tapped the ball a few times on these restarts. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle by Fritz.
Yeah,
that's going to let Reddinger get by.
Little tires of Fritz coming back to bite him. And maybe you're right, Mean Gene, because let's see how quickly they can get to Michael Mata here with 16 lap different tires. Only 10 to go. Man, this is why some people love and hate the fast repair, because the 11 and 24 were just in an incident, and here they are in second and third place. Completely healthy cars. Race per win. Lale is back out, Mean Gene. Hiram absolutely just destroys the wall. What happened here? This started earlier.
Michael Mata again has to hate not taking tires after that last one.
Yes, I agree now. So what happened here with, just loose on exit like we've seen all day, and that car is no longer drivable. Oh, and poor Alex Hillman. Wrong place, wrong time. Maybe it's just it's a rites of passage for being a Daily Drivers Inc. team member to just have the worst luck possible in your first few races. Because Alex Hillman, one of the newer members of Team DDI, not able to catch a break today. But wow, Justin Parham, we've talked about Justin so much today. He needed a good run, and that to me is going to probably be the nail in the coffin. It's not going to be one. It's going to be points, like we talked about today. It's going to be points, which is better than nothing, like Casabir and Volpus are getting. But Parham had a run on his lap early in this race that could have essentially locked him in the playoffs. And for these last 2 races, he's going to be fighting pretty hard.
Yep, we're just going to have to see exactly how these points end up sorting themselves out as we are getting closer to the end of the race. 6 laps remaining. This might be a green light checker situation. Let's see how many laps it takes them to get this thing all settled. I'm not sure. It looks like the lights are off on that pace car. Is that right?
They're on my end, and now that's going to be 6 to go. It's so hard to calculate the laps, honestly. But yeah, so it's going to be 6 to go right now. Lights still on, so I don't think it's going to be a GWC quite yet. But it's going to be close, Mean Gene. I think we're going to go green with 4 to go. So that will be very interesting. If you're David Owens, I think you go immediately, right? And my move is probably, I'm not really, this is going to be easier said than done because Mata's an excellent driver and he's very, very smart about the way he approaches things. I thought Michael Mata, don't get stuck on the bottom. You got to stay in the top, right? Make Owens figure that out.
Well, you know, David Owens, he's had some incidents earlier in the season, and he talked about being too nice. And he said being too nice cost him to get in traffic and let the cars behind him catch up. So you can take that to mean what you will, saying that I'm being too nice and letting the cars behind me catch up. Right now, he has 33 less laps on his tires than Michael Mata directly in front of him, and he is going to be starting on that front row. If Owens is in a situation where he is coming into the turn a little bit faster than Mata, and Mata tries to cut down and take the lane away from him, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see that NOS get real cold and then be 0 kill in that incident right there at that point. Mata, on the other hand, though, he's run a clean season so far. Owens might just give him the classic up and run. So we'll see exactly how this is going to come out. There are 3 laps remaining. Looks like Mata's going to choose that inside lane. Owens on the outside.
It'll be 3 remaining when we go green. And yeah, if he does give the bump and run, which I agree, it probably is the move, just make sure that 16 can't get back to you because it's fair game after that. Also, keep your eyes on the 26, the 48, and the 28. Smalley, Fritz, and Mero, guys who are, either on the bubble or just below the bubble, or just above the bubble, I'm sorry. Do you think they want that win, or do you think they've already feel like they've done it and they don't want to ruin what's been a great race? Here we go, Mean Gene. This is going to be nuts.
Good luck.
Green flag, there goes Mata. Probably the best start we've seen from the outside all day today by David Owens.
David Owens trying to keep it tight, but he's got the 24 Redinger on the inside. He's got fresher tires. He should get that momentum, and he does. 24 and the 26 side by side, 48-28 back behind them. Redinger and the 26 is Smalley are going to play games with each other, but the games are up front.
Caution is out, Caution. And we're going to overtime.
How about that good caution?
As Matt Novella had such a good run going, him and Stinson appear to get together. Looks like Novella's going to get loose on the exit like everyone has today. Exactly. Stinson with nowhere to go. What do you call that, Mean Gene?
Yeah, it looks like he was trying to put his application in for T-Bone Racing.
Yes, sir. We need a sound effect for that, don't we? Well, we have 3 overtime restarts allowed here in MRL, ladies and gentlemen. This will be our first. For those who don't know, the rules of NASCAR overtime are the first flag, or I'm sorry, if we get to we're going to go green with 2 to go. If we get to the white flag, the next flag will end. Whether that be a caution or the checkered flag, we would not restart if we get to that white flag. If we don't get to that white flag, we're going to keep doing this thing over and over again for 3 tries until we are able to finish it. But now we have potentially our last break of today. Let's talk about one of our sponsors today, Mean Gene. If I can find our logo.
It's out there.
Daily Drivers Inc. The reason why I want to talk about Daily Drivers Inc. today is next weekend, so November 2nd over in San Antonio, Texas, Daily Drivers Inc. is hosting a car show called Texas Stampede. It's going to be held at a private property, and let me tell you guys, it's one of the most gorgeous properties at Daily Drivers Inc. It was a company that's already held events at places like wineries, theme parks, breweries, train museums, so many awesome locations. This one might be the most mind-boggling of all. So if you're in the Texas area, which we know so many NASCAR fans are, check out Texas Stampede by Daily Drivers Inc. Next weekend, Saturday, November 2nd in San Antonio. You can get your tickets to spectate or to show off your show car at dailydriversinc.com or ddievents.com. Thank you to Daily Drivers Inc. They also did announce Winter Wonder Slam 8, their SoCal show. They will be in Paris, California, not France, California, on December 14th at the Street Legal Drag Strip. So check them out, Daily Drivers Inc. Thank you for being an MRL sponsor. Got some awesome car shows coming up, and we have an awesome end of this race coming up, Mean Gene.
You know what just happened on that last lap, and it's not what you want to do? They just let Tony Iverson back on the lead lap.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yep. They done did it. Oh, they done did it, and they just messed around, and they might find out.
Yep, I was about to say that. They messed around and they found out. That's been a theme of MRL lately, hasn't it? But man,
let's see what happened there.
So we are down to 10 cars on our lead lap, Mean Gene. And they're all our heavy hitters, if we're being honest. The only one we're kind of missing is David Cook and Stinson. And our defending champion, Jack Sanders, who just has not been able to capture the speed that he found last year. But always a dangerous one. But 4 laps down, just getting struck by the violence and the brutalness that is Bristol. But man, oh man, we still got guys who have been knocking on the door all season, looking for their first win here today. Our top 3 have not seen victory lane this season yet.
They'd love to see it right now. It looks like the lights are off of the pace car. We are in a green-white checker situation. They only need to make it once. They just need 15 seconds of clean driving
Just 15
to
seconds.
make this finish special. They didn't do it last time. Maybe they can do it this time. So, look like Michael Mata up front, still feeling good about those 62 lap tires. David Owens is right there with him. Who's the control car? I'm looking at Mata as the lead car.
Yeah, Mata at the control car. So look for that inside lane, Mean Gene, to just
Here we
take
go.
off like it
Pace
has all
car is
day.
off.
Another
Green,
great
there's
start.
the run.
Here we go.
Well, he times that thing so good. Look at him
So
get up
well.
into that third lane.
I love how early
That
he
gives
goes.
him a great run. Yeah, I mean, as soon as he said, like, Owens is still turning the car. Look at the run of Owens, though, as he closes the gap.
Oh,
Owens
boy.
definitely going to tap the wall. He don't mind.
Here we go,
Are they
Mean
going to make
Gene.
it all the way around? This is official.
This is official, ladies and gentlemen. White flag. Owens to the inside. Mata's going to try to get the run. Owens gets loose, and that should be enough. Let's see how deep Owens sends it in. Will they make contact? to the line. Michael Mata, David Owens, they touch. It's not enough. Owens goes around. Michael Mata wins at Bristol. What a job by Mata.
It's his 5th race of the year, making him official, and it's his first win of the year, making him a championship playoff driver. What an amazing day. That guy had been knocking on the door for the last few weeks, and then now we see him do it in just his 5th race. Michael Mata, what a great run by him today. Owens did all he could.
I was right on board with Owens for those last 2 laps, Mean Gene. Let's do 30 seconds of absolute craziness with David Owens. This is what Owens was seeing. This was the right move. Go to the top, get that run. Watch how big this run will be. That's what he wanted to have happen. His only choice here. You could tell he kind of wanted to still stay on the top. And now this was I like this move by Owens too. He's putting all his chips in one basket to the bottom. And it's probably not going to hook up here on exit. It doesn't. Look how loose that is, Mean Gene. Last chance, and I love this by Owens. This is as clean as a whistle in terms of making contact. Mata was willing to choke him off, and hey, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. That is awesome, Mean Gene.
Yeah, Michael Mata really piloting that 16 Chevrolet around. He was on the oldest tires on the track, and yet he was still able to put down one of the quickest laps of those top guys to take that win. Michael Mata finding his way into victory lane. Michael Mata, David Owens second, Mason Smalley third, Austin Merrow fourth, Kenneth Redinger fifth. Hey, how about Jose Medina with that top 6 right there? Matthew Fritz, Matt Novella, Tony Iverson, Jax Duvall, and the 11th place car, Jay Stinson, found himself back on that lead lap. Really exciting racing. Only 6 cautions here today. We were expecting a few with this size field here, especially considering what happened last year. But instead, what we see is a relatively clean race. Cautions did breed cautions at the end, and that allowed Michael Mata to take that win with those older tires. David Owens so close there at the end. But it is Michael Mata who finally finds his way into victory lane. All right, let's do a little bit of technical work here as we are going to try to pull in some of our other drivers. First guy we're going to talk to is going to be the number 26 Chevrolet, Mason Smalley. Mason, Mean Gene up here. Do I got you, brother? You got a big red mark next to your name. I think that's a mute, Mason Smalley.
Ooh, actually, I may have to fix that, Mean Gene.
Did you mute our third place guy?
You got me now.
Okay,
there he is.
I'll take the blame
Mason,
for that one.
How you feeling, buddy?
I think my heart's in my neck, possibly. That was a very intense couple of last restarts for me personally.
I mean, absolutely. All of you guys up there, 22 laps, 20 laps of tires when you started that thing. And then you got Redinger there on 36 lap old tires, and then Mata in the front 65. So you're thinking somebody's going to spin at any moment, yet you can't back off. What was the most tense moment on those last 2 restarts for you?
I think everything played out really good for me and Austin Merrill there at the end. We collaborated and kind of talked, and we thought staying out when everybody else came in there with like 30 some to go. And then a caution came out about 10 laps later. We came in, got tires, and I think that caution that gave us that opportunity put us ahead of a lot of guys that had to come in and fix damage. And I think that really is what helped us get to that really good 3rd and 4th place finish that we got. I would say definitely the most intense part was that final restart starting on the inside. That outside lane was pretty much untouchable on brand new tires. So I wanted to get up there as soon as possible. I don't know what happened to the 24, but as soon as I could slide up, I definitely did.
Yeah, he had 14 lap older tires, so his tires were 33% more worn than yours. It's funny you mention him though, because you, Merrow, and Redinger, all of you, the 24 car, the 26 car, the 28 car, we actually started referring to you guys as the 20-somethings because you always seem to find yourselves together, those 3 guys running at the front of the pack. Great day today, Mason. Congratulations finding your way back onto the podium. Definitely going to help your quest to move up. Currently 9th in points, chasing down David Cook. And Cook with a little bit of a rougher run today, that might, he's down in 12th, so we might actually see you overtake him in points. Still clicking away, Mason. Two more races. Anybody want to give a shout out to?
I want to give a shout out to my teammate Austin Merrill. It was great talking with him strategy wise and game plan wise, and I think just talking to each other helped us both get really good, solid runs out of the day.
Yep, communication, the name of the day. The number 26 Chevrolet, Mason Smalley, your third place winner. Thanks, Mason.
Thank you.
Great job, Mason. All right, we got David Owens here.
Yes, sir.
Mr. David Owens. Man, that one was a thriller. So I didn't want to spoil it for you. I asked you for a graphic of your car, but I want to tell you why I was using it. And the reason why was to show the stats of what you did last year, which we talked before this race, and you barely remembered what you did last year. But man, I'm sure you started to remember quite a bit when you were halfway through that first run and just molly-whopping the field. So tell me about what today was like. And I loved what you did late in the race by not pitting and keeping a lot of the field a lap down. I'd love to know about your thought process there, and if you regret that decision with the way the cautions kind of turned out, or how that went for you.
Um, I wanted this race just wanting to come out with a clean car. It's Bristol, so it's hard to happen. But early on, I was just wanting to cruise. They wanted to get by me, so I could just let them go. And I just reeled them back down later in that run, been able to turn it around, get the stage win. Then I wasn't pitting until I ran it out of fuel because I knew I could one stop it once I got to a certain lap. And that was the plan. Um, Pitted, come out. I was about to take the lead, and we had that caution that kind of set everything up. I only had, I think, 20 lap tires, and I was like, that's not going to make that big of a deal. And yeah, I wanted to trap whoever I had to lap down because it's less work in case something happens. And by God, did it happen if it was going to happen to me. Novella just losing talent right there, and I get it. It happens. But if it wasn't for that, I think I would have been able to, just hang it on right there. But it is what it is, channeling my inner Sheldon Creed here with all the second place finishes I've gotten this season. So other than that, hey, it's a good point stay.
Yeah, meanwhile, you do have wins elsewhere, so not totally Sheldon Creed, but I get what you're saying. I mean, Sheldon Creed Cup Series too. Come on, but
Right.
Sheldon's a great dude. But yeah, that one with Novella, it was tough. Novella with the same tire situation as you, and you were spot on. You had 27 older, so given the caution laps, I think you're dead on. I think it was 20.
Yeah.
But man, so talk to me a little bit about Michael Mata, our winner. Early in the run, you were just absolutely putting a clinic on, but I think a lot of it, not to take anything away from you, I think a lot of it was you just not making mistakes while the rest of the field was. We saw a lot of guys go from second to 11th, a second to laps down during that run. Did you feel like early in the race today, like, oh man, no one's got anything for me? Or did you feel like, okay, these guys have speed and I just have to keep it clean and I got this thing?
Yeah, pretty much. Just was hoping to keep it clean. I knew people had speed, so I was just biding my time, making sure I saved tires and used them when I needed to. And unfortunately, the caution monster got us. And hopefully, it wasn't a commentator's curse that got me either.
No, we tried. We weren't getting bored. We're like, okay, it's been 70, 80 laps. Can we bring out a yellow? We had sponsors to plug. We had graphics I had made. So, no, we tried, and you guys wouldn't give it to us until like 50 to go. But nonetheless, how impressive was that, I guess, for a Bristol race? I mean, we don't have to talk about other Bristol races. We've seen in this league and other leagues and how ugly they can get. So, hats off to you. Hats off to all of MRL for today for putting on a super entertaining race. There's nothing wrong with things getting as crazy as they did. And also want to compliment you specifically for the way you drove Mata at the end there. That was very, very clean, and that's how you set an example to as you enter the playoffs to make sure that none of that happens to you. So great job today, David, and
I appreciate it.
you're probably nearly locked in. So awesome job.
I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not gonna. It has to be a certain people have to be in my way for me to move them for a win. But I'm gonna race everybody as clean as possible. I'm gonna race them how they race me. Mottos race me nothing but with respect. So he deserves it just as much as I do. So I was just hoping, man, if we wouldn't have had those two cautions, that last caution we had a 4-lap shootout, I think I would have gotten them. But having those two other cautions just didn't give me enough laps.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't help when they click off at 14 seconds at a time. Thank you, David Owens. Anyone you want to shout out before I get out of here?
Shout out to everybody that helps put this league on. All the admins, Joe, Steve, John Beverly, Jax as well. So all of them guys, to you, Kevin, Kyle, Jerry in the booth, y'all week in and week out, y'all put on the broadcast for us. We couldn't find a broadcast for a while, so we finally decided to do it in house, and we had some great guys jump up and step up to put this together with us and make it really, really shine throughout this league.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Fantastic job today. And yeah, this was a fun one on the broadcasting end. So thank you very much. Before we go to our winner, Mean Gene, do you want to talk to Austin Merrow real quick since we got him here? And that dude deserves to be asked a few questions about that amazing run today. Great job by Merrow.
Let's see what he's got. The 28 of Austin Merrow, teammate of Mason Smalley, part of the unofficial 20-something club. Austin Merrow, you out there, bud?
Yes, sir.
Man, I'll tell you what, there was a minute where I thought this race might have been yours. You had that car on the rail. What was your secret, and where do you think it went sideways, or did the other guys just get faster?
No, I was just stupid with my tires. That first run, I knew I had speed, and I was trying not to abuse the car and at the same time have speed, which it's hard. But just got too far ahead of myself in the track in the car and backed up to David. And from there on out, I mean, I was ahead of the game, but behind the game at the same time. So, but really, it was just taking care of the right front for me. I was abusing the heck out of it. So,
You could see a lot of cars, somewhere around 15, 20 laps. That thing just started looking like it became an entirely new environment. But you managed to continue to push your way through that pack. Yeah, you say you got a little bit behind, but I'll tell you what, there's 15 other guys behind you that wish that they were as behind as you were today, Austin. Really good run, exciting and clean racing, I got to say. You were three wide a few times, managed to pilot that 28 Chevrolet on the straight and narrow and keep it going. Austin Merrow with a fourth place finish today. Austin, anybody want to give a holler to?
well, of course, my teammate Mason Smalley. We really talked each other through that. We were both nervous as all get out, and we got through it. And good finishes. We needed it heading into the playoffs. So shout out to him, and shout out to my team. Hey, for a guy that did some foolish moves last week, got it this week.
Well done, Austin. And hey, I actually want to say, I'm not sure if it was because of me specifically, not so much me and my ineptness with your old blue car, but I appreciate the orange. It's a lot easier to get you out of the field now.
Hey, man, I have to shake it up once in a while, right? Thank you guys. Thank you guys for the broadcast. It's always fun, and thank you to this league. This is a blast, week in, week out. This is awesome.
Yes, sir, it is. Thank you, Austin. And without
There you
further
go,
ado, I'm going to do a little cue intro for this man, because this is overdue. The number 16 of Michael Mata is finally in victory lane. Michael Mata, how's it feel?
Oh man, this feels great. And after second last week, and then second I think at Phoenix, I mean, I knew I had the speed. I just didn't have the speed today. Today was just strategy.
Hey, it's awesome for that to finally work out in your favor, right? Because it seems like all season you had the speed, but the strategy seemed to bite you in the butt at the end of the race. So hey, you deserve this one, Michael. And how many times have I told you just keep doing what you're doing, and this will happen? So tell me, what point today did you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm about to win Bristol in the MRL?
Not until the caution came out to the first caution, I was like, okay, I might have a chance. But the second one really was like, okay, now I got a chance. Because the first one, I had to pit early because I had damage, and I did not have enough fuel to finish the race. So the second caution actually saved the race for me.
Good to know. That's fascinating. There was so much to keep up with these 14-second laps. It was a lot. You got anything for him, Mean Gene?
No, man, just a heck of a run. We talked about you earlier, seeing your progress as you go through, almost like watching a quick learning curve. You got into these big packs. You got caught up in the soup. You and I talked about maybe, I don't know if we're going to identify the bad people, but there are cars that get loose more so than others. You took a stage win earlier, and now you find yourself in victory lane. Michael, it took you what, five races to get qualified, and this race is going to push you into that championship. Two more races left this season. You got anything for the guys in those two?
Ooh, I don't know. These guys are good. Uh, we'll see. I don't remember what the tracks were. They're coming up. I know I'm good at the last few, but in the middle, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be a fun last two races, Michael Mata. And what does this do for you mentally? You were in our playoff.
Homestead and Auto Club.
Oh,
Homestead and Auto Club, by the way.
Those are some two slick and fast tracks. Going into this situation, well, I'll pull up our playoff picture real quick. We had you, I believe, under our must win. So how does this feel mentally? Yep. How does this feel going through the rest of the season? We have two more left and then enter the playoffs mentally in terms of how you're going to approach these.
Well, the last few laps here, that is the hardest I've ever driven Bristol. I do not like this track. And those are some of the best laps I've ever put down here. And I don't want to have to do that again. And now I don't have to. I can race a little bit more stress-free.
Good. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It definitely lets you approach the races a little bit more just for fun, kind of house money now, right? But great job, Michael Mata. Overdue, like we've said over and over again, man. I am so happy for you. Congrats on the W. Anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, Michael?
I got to shout out Case Beer. He's not feeling too well, but shout him out. Team owner. Got me in this league, so got to thank him. Got to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. And David Owens worked with him there in the last restart, helped him out. And good race to the end for them.
Thank you so much, Michael, and congrats on the W, man. We will see you next week.
Yeah, have a good one.
Big win there by him today, Zach. I mean, we knew this guy was about to do something big, and then all of a sudden he just had the car at the end. I mean, he had the worst tires on the track, and yet he seemed to still find the quickest way around those last two laps, didn't he?
Yeah, kind of funny hearing him say how he hates this track when he just had old tires and managed to get the W. So impressive by him. But this track is brutal, and it's not surprising hearing from so many guys. This is the hardest I've ever driven. That's the most uncomfortable I've ever been in a race car. Because, man, this track really asks the most out of you. And like we just said, let's not shout out the guys who may have made mistakes here, because if there's any track where, in my opinion, it's okay to make mistakes, it's this track right here at Bristol. I think we should more be focusing on the show that these guys put on. An 80 plus, what was it, Mean Gene? 90, 100 lap green flag run at Bristol. I can tell you with absolute confidence, I've never in my life seen that before in iRacing.
No, especially with the field that large, to see those guys with the give and take that they had. A couple of up and run situations, but these guys are pros and managed to make it work. I'm looking at the points going into this next week. It looks like Iverson and Owens are now tied in points, 37 behind Redinger. So we can see that gap actually grew a little bit for Redinger. Quite interesting to watch that happen. But Iverson and Owens now tied. Quesabir missing the race. He does fall to 13th, allowing Steve Lewis to move ahead of him. So Lewis is going to have a 15-point lead over Jonathan Quesabir going into that next week. Wow. He's going to have to get on his horse and make it happen at those two tracks. Other movers to talk about: top 8 getting playoff points moving forward, and Mason Smalley is going to move up into that 8th position, overtaking David Cook. So he finds himself the recipient of that one extra point. A lot of movement, but we still got a lot of racing to go in these next two races. We're going to see just how tight these drivers can actually make it. I'm curious though. What do you think, Kenneth Redinger? 2 races, 37 points. I mean, does he need to clear a spot on the mantle, Zach?
So glad you brought that up, Mean Gene, because that was the next thing I was going to bring up. What you guys are seeing on the screen right now is the standings before this race started. So pay attention to everything Mean Gene just said. That was live standings, and I just want to give you guys kind of a visual of what we were looking at going in here with the standings next to us. But great point, Mean Gene, and that was exactly what I was going to talk about, was those drivers. Let's do Redinger first. Plus 37, as we saw today. He got another top 5. Gosh, that guy is so consistent. Tony Iverson only able to get a 9th place finish at this one, making that a 37-point deficit. Personally, for me, Mean Gene, I think Redinger is good. And I wouldn't say that unless it was Kenneth Redinger. That dude just knows how to finish well. He showed it all season. I think he's going to be a regular season champion. I'd love to be proven wrong in terms of the on-track action, but he also deserves it. He's had a very, very great regular season. Tony Iverson, a lot of what we've seen this season, tons of raw speed, not the execution he needs to finish these races. Tony Iverson, I think probably the reason why we're seeing this a little bit here in the regular season is those 2 wins. He is points racing, right, Mean Gene? He wants more of those bonus points. He wants to pad that gap. There's more in it for him to win races right now than it is for him to, get a 4th or 3rd place. But let's talk about the middle of the pack, and I think that's where it's a little bit more intriguing. First of all, Jonathan Quesabeer, shout out to Mata, I believe it was, or Smalley, who shouted him out. We're thinking about you, Jonathan. We hope you're healthy enough to race next week. But that was a rough one for Quesabeer in terms of points. Luckily, guys like Justin Parham not having great days. This is not by any means over for Jonathan, but he needs to be here for these next 2 races. He needs to just have solid races. But yeah, you have guys like Mason Smalley getting a podium finish today. That should be enough to make him at least comfortable for these last 2 races, to where he just needs to do a version of that, right? Maybe a 10th place. And that should be enough for him to get out of here. We can talk about guys like Stinson, who got out here in 11th. We can talk about guys like Marrow, 4th, another exceptional run. Exactly what Marrow needed. I think that will be enough for him. Definitely will be enough for him to leapfrog Dodson there. So big, big day for that team of those 2 20s, the 26th and the 28th of Smalley and Marrow. That's my biggest, the one that's sticking out the most to me, because you're also just seeing guys like Fritz and Owens do what they've done all season. Even with Owens tied with Iverson, I mean, beyond the point payout you get at the end of the regular season, that's not super impactful. David Owens, I can tell you by knowing him and his aspirations at the end of these playoffs, he wants to win a race. He wants those 5 bonus points that come with that race win. That's going to be his goal these next 2 wins, or these next 2 races. He knows that he's in the playoffs. He needs to get himself a W. But man, Mean Gene, every race, it's not getting any less intriguing. It's only getting closer and crazier to who's going to make these playoffs. And what's so cool about that, if we want to talk about real life NASCAR, I so often feel like, oh, who cares about, I'm sorry if you're a fan of this guy like Daniel Suarez or Cindric in 15th and 16th in the playoffs. Like, they're going to be out of here soon. Any of these 12 guys in the MRL Cup Series can win this championship. 100%.
And that regular season thing is just going to be tough. David Owens, he took 2nd place last year at the next 2 tracks. Unfortunately for him, Tony Iverson won at one of those tracks. So that's just going to make it all the more interesting as they go into these things. Redinger he did not run season 2, so we're not exactly sure how he does it. But you're talking about the next 2 tracks, Iverson and Owens got 1, 2, and 2. So they're going to be putting the heat on Kenneth. Kenneth is going to need to come out and have some strong performances. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Is he the kind of guy that just says, I'm chasing points? Or is he just going to give it lip service, say the things you're supposed to say when the team owner is in the room, and then when he gets behind the wheel, he's going to point and click that nose and just see how hard he can push it? Going to be fascinating with these last 2 races coming up to see exactly how these guys are going to handle that. Coming up to Auto Club and Homestead, our next 2 tracks. Really great stuff tonight, Zach. 6 cautions, all kind of came at the end. 100 laps of green flag racing. Any last thoughts?
Man, just love this one. I did not at all expect the type of race we ended up with, right? Like the enormous green flag runs. We got the Bristol that we expected at the end. And what it ended up giving us was a race where the cream kind of really rose to the top, with our top guys battling out for the wins. And then the ones who we expect to see up front that weren't up there like they normally are, the Iversons and the Cooks of the world. This track really just showing what makes it so brutal, so difficult, and so rewarding to win. Even guys like that with just immense amount of talent not able to figure it out over the course of 175 laps. I completely agree with you that we just have some intriguing and fascinating storylines to finish out this season. I don't know what Redinger is going to do, and that is what I'll be looking for along with you. I thought today would have been one of those days where Redinger is like, you know what, I'm in the top 5. I got half this field, more than half this field a lap down. Let me settle in, but we did not see that from our 24 championship leader. He was aggressive. He was parts of incidents today. He wanted to win this race. There was nothing that he wanted. It didn't seem like anything else besides that was good enough for him. Can't blame him for that. It only makes it more fun for us to watch. So it's going to be awesome to watch our championship contenders that have already essentially guaranteed their way, whether it be through a win or through just excellent points racing, into our playoffs, mixing it up with the guys who are still trying to get in here. Like we just said, all of them knowing all I got to do is get into that postseason and I can take home the big trophy.
And after watching Michael Mata win, they're like, hey, I can do it. I'm inspired. So Michael Mata inspiring a lot of drivers who are still eligible moving forward to get into the last 12 positions to do that chase. Other notes, hey, no penalties today. There were 5 last year, no penalties for incident points this year. Good job, guys. All right, that's going to wrap us up here from Bristol. As always, I am Mean Gene Money. I got Zach Panzarella. Thank you so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, hit like, hit subscribe. Check us out on Wednesday. And as always, bottoms up and hammer down.
Thank you all. See y'all next Monday.
Children sing aloud, music till the wick burns out.